Have you ever seen someone chase money so hard they forget their own dignity? Then wondered when life would finally correct them? And have you ever felt that secret little spark of satisfaction when consequences show up fast, only to realize that the real lesson might be meant for you too? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about a kind of story that people cannot stop watching. The so-called instant karma tale, where someone uses others for status and cash, then gets humbled in a way that feels perfectly timed. On the surface, it is entertainment. Underneath, it is a spiritual mirror, because karma is not a magical slap from the universe. Karma is cause and effect, and cause and effect does not only punish, it teaches. The big question is not whether the greedy person gets what they deserve. The big question is what this story reveals about craving, attachment, and the quiet wisdom that keeps a heart from turning into a calculator. Let me start with a scene you have probably seen in some version, even if you have never lived it. A glossy restaurant. A table near the window. Someone dressed to impress. Phone out. Camera angled just right. A smile that looks warm but feels practiced. A person across the table trying to connect like a human being. Meanwhile, the smile is not aimed at the person. It is aimed at the image. The one chasing money is not always poor. Sometimes they have enough, but enough is not the point. The point is what money represents in their mind. Safety, power, victory. The feeling of being chosen by the world. In these stories, the so-called gold digger often treats relationships like transactions. They do not say it out loud. They say things like standards and preferences and knowing your worth, but their energy says something else. You exist to upgrade my lifestyle. Your value is what you can provide. If you cannot provide, I can replace you. Now, before we turn them into a cartoon villain, let us be honest. This pattern does not appear from nowhere. It usually grows from fear. Fear of struggling. Fear of being invisible. Fear of being ordinary. Fear of being hurt again. And fear can make a person cling to money as if money were love. That is the first karmic seed. Clinging. Clinging makes you grab. Grabbing makes you use. Using makes you numb. Numbness makes you cruel. Cruelty invites consequences. Not because a cosmic judge is angry, but because reality cannot be manipulated forever without collapsing. So let me tell you a story in that classic instant karma style, but with the deeper layers left in, so you can feel the wisdom underneath the drama. There was a young woman I will call Serena. Serena was not untalented. She was observant, quick, and socially skilled. She knew how to read a room. She knew how to flatter without sounding obvious. She knew how to turn a casual conversation into a spotlight. She also carried a quiet belief that she never spoke directly. If I do not secure comfort, life will humiliate me. That belief came from earlier years, not necessarily from poverty alone. Sometimes it came from watching adults argue about bills. Sometimes it came from seeing a parent get abandoned. Sometimes it came from being teased for wearing cheap clothes. Sometimes it came from comparing herself to others and deciding she was behind. When the mind forms a belief like that, it becomes a script. A person can live inside the script for years and call it personality. So Serena decided she would never struggle. She would never be the one begging. She would never be the one settling. She developed her strategy. Date only people with money. Choose places that look expensive. Make sure people see you in those places. Post the right pictures. Say the right lines. Keep your options open. Always be upgrading. To Serena, this was not greed. This was survival with a pretty filter. Then she met a man named Ethan. Ethan was calm, polite, and he looked like he had money. Not loud money, quiet money. The kind of money that does not have to prove itself. Serena did what she always did. She smiled. She laughed at his jokes a little too quickly. She asked questions that sounded like interest but were really scouty. What do you do for work? Do you travel often? Where do you live? Do you like nice places or are you more low-key? Ethan answered simply. He said he did well. He said he liked comfort but also liked calm. He did not flex. That made him even more attractive to her, because she assumed his wealth was real. They went on a few dates. Serena kept choosing places that would force a big bill. She would casually order the most expensive thing on the menu, then act like it was normal. She would mention designer brands. She would test him in subtle ways. Ethan always paid without complaint. Serena started thinking she had found her next upgrade. Here is where the karma begins to move. Quietly, before the dramatic moment. Because Ethan was not only watching Serena. He was listening to the energy behind her words. He noticed she asked almost nothing about his feelings, his values, his family, his struggles. She asked about lifestyle and status. He noticed she was kind to him but cold to service workers. He noticed she took pictures of the table more than she looked into his eyes. Ethan had lived long enough to know a hard truth. When someone is dating your wallet, they will never see your soul. He did not confront her immediately. Not because he was weak, because he was wise. Wisdom does not always rush to punish. Wisdom often waits until the lesson can be delivered cleanly. So Ethan set a test. He invited Serena to an event, a charity gathering. Serena loved the idea because charity gatherings often meant rich people, good lighting, and photo opportunities. She agreed instantly. At the event, Serena glided through the room like she belonged. She laughed loudly at jokes that were not funny. She complimented the right people. She kept touching Ethan gently in public, like branding him as hers. Then she met a man named Victor. Victor was the type that screams money. Loud confidence. Serena locked onto him immediately. She began talking to Victor while Ethan stood nearby like furniture. Serena dropped hints about how much she loved travel, how she deserved a life of luxury, how she was tired of cheap men. Victor smiled and said all the right things. Serena felt excited. This is the upgrade, she thought. She imagined the pictures, the gifts, the envy. Then Victor offered her something. He said he had a private after party at a penthouse. He said she should come. He said Ethan could come too. But his tone made it clear he did not care. Serena glanced at Ethan. Not with loyalty, but with calculation. She expected Ethan to be jealous and fight for her. That would confirm his value. If he begged, she would feel powerful. Ethan simply nodded and said, "If you want to go, go." That calm response made Serena uneasy. People like Serena are often addicted to emotional control. When you do not react, you do not feed the addiction. And then the empty feels empty. Serena went anyway. Ethan did not chase her. He just left the event quietly. Now we are in the classic instant karma territory. The penthouse, the glitter, the illusion. Serena arrived with Victor. The place looked expensive, but something felt off. The people there were loud in a desperate way, like they were performing wealth. The laughter felt forced. The drinks felt too strong. The compliments felt like bait. Victor disappeared for a while. Serena wandered, trying to look confident. Then she overheard a conversation that made her stomach tighten. Someone said Victor was not rich. Someone said he was known for scamming. Someone said he borrowed cars for photos. Someone said he used women to get access to events. Then ghosted. Serena felt a cold wave rise. She tried to find Victor. She walked from room to room. Finally, she spotted him near the door, talking to another woman, smiling the same smile he gave Serena. Serena approached quickly, trying to pull him back with charm. Victor looked at her with sudden boredom and said, "Relax. You had fun, right?" Serena said, "What is this? Are you serious?" Victor shrugged. He leaned closer and said something that cut deep, because it mirrored her own hidden logic. "You wanted money. I wanted attention. We both wanted something. Do not act shocked." Then Victor walked out. Serena stood there, stunned, feeling the humiliation burn her cheeks. The room that looked glamorous now felt like a trap. The people around her did not care. They were too busy acting. She reached for her phone. No signal. She realized she did not even know the address. She realized she had abandoned Ethan with no plan, because she assumed the world would always catch her. Now this is where many stories end. The gold digger gets embarrassed. The audience cheers. End credits. But the deeper karmic story continues. Because karma is not satisfied with embarrassment. Karma is satisfied with insight. Serena left the penthouse and got downstairs, only to discover her bag was missing. Keys. Everything. She felt panic. She called a friend. But the friend did not pick up. She called another. Same. She realized many of her connections were shallow. People loved her image. Few loved her reality. She ended up sitting outside on a curb. Cold air biting. Makeup still perfect, but spirit cracked. And in that moment, a question rose that she had avoided her whole life. If I cannot use charm, who am I? That is awakening, trying to happen. Awakening is not always calm and beautiful. Sometimes awakening is humiliating. Sometimes it is the ego collapsing, so the heart can finally breathe. Serena got home late. She found a message from Ethan. One simple line. I hope you are safe. Take care of yourself. No insult. No revenge. No drama. That kindness hit harder than any punishment, because it showed her a truth she could not deny. He saw me as human. I saw him as a wallet. She felt shame. Not the kind that says I am worthless. The kind that says I have been wrong. That is remorse. And remorse is sacred if it leads to change. The next day, Serena tried to repair things. She called Ethan. She apologized. She explained. She tried to sound sincere. Ethan listened. Then he said something quietly that became the real instant karma. I am not angry. I am clear. I want someone who chooses me, not my lifestyle. I want someone who can be kind when no one is watching. I want someone who is not chasing a fantasy. Serena begged. She promised to change. Ethan said, if you change, do it for you, not for me. Then he ended the call. Serena felt the emptiness again. This time she could not blame Victor. She could not blame Ethan. She could not blame the universe. She could only face the pattern. This is the moment where karma stops being entertainment and becomes a teacher. Because the real karma was not Victor embarrassing her. The real karma was her own strategy bringing her to a place where she could finally see the cost. When you treat love like a transaction, you attract transaction. When you use people, people use you. When you worship status, you become a servant to appearances. When you cling to money as safety, you become unsafe inside. Because your worth depends on external things that can disappear overnight. This is not punishment. This is cause and effect. Now let us widen the lens. Why do people love these stories so much? Because they feel like moral balance. They feel like the universe still has order. They feel like bullies get humbled. They feel like users get used. They feel like fairness exists. But here is the deeper wisdom. If you only watch these stories to feel superior, you miss the teaching meant for your own heart. The gold digger is not only a person on a screen. The gold digger is a symbol of craving in all of us. Craving does not only crave money. Craving craves attention. Craving craves validation. Craving craves control. Craving craves certainty. Craving craves being chosen. And craving always creates suffering, even when it gets what it wants. Because craving is never satisfied for long. It is a hungry fire. You feed it. It grows. In Buddhist wisdom, attachment is one of the central roots of suffering. Attachment means you grab at life and demand it provide a permanent sense of security. But life is changing. Bodies change. Status changes. Relationships change. Money changes. If you anchor your worth to changing things, you become anxious. You become controlling. You become hungry. The path of cultivation is learning to hold life with open hands. Not passive, not weak, open. Open hands can receive. Open hands can release. Open hands can build without choking. Serena, for the first time, was forced to open her hands. She lost the illusion that she could always manipulate outcomes. That loss hurt, but it also freed her from a prison she did not realize she lived in. Now a lot of people would say, so did Serena become a better person? The honest answer is that change is slow. Karma does not transform in one apology. Karma transforms through repeated practice. Serena started small. She stopped chasing the most expensive places. She stopped posting to prove her worth. She started working on her own skills so she would not feel dependent. She practiced speaking honestly instead of performing. She tried to notice the moment she wanted to use someone and pause. She also began a practice that surprised her, because it felt almost as simple. When she felt the urge to chase validation, she would sit quietly and breathe slowly. Sometimes she would hum softly on the exhale, feeling the vibration in her chest. That vibration was like an anchor. It reminded her she existed beyond the image. It reminded her she was a nervous system, not a brand. This is how spiritual practice becomes real. Not incense and slogans. Regulation, awareness, choice. Over time, Serena began to experience a different kind of wealth. Self-respect. Relationships that did not feel like bargaining. Did she become perfect? None. But she became more honest. And honesty is the beginning of wisdom. Now let me bring the story back to you, because this is where the true lesson lies. You might not be a gold digger in the obvious sense, but where do you dig for value in your own life? Do you dig for it in likes and attention? Do you dig for it in being the most impressive person in the room? Do you dig for it in controlling people so they cannot leave? Do you dig for it in proving you are better than someone else? Do you dig for it in getting revenge so you can feel powerful? Every time you dig in the wrong place, you create karmic debt, not because the universe is angry, but because you are planting seeds of suffering. And every time you dig in the right place, awareness, compassion, practice, you plant seeds of peace. Instant karma stories are popular because they compress time. In real life, consequences do not always arrive instantly. Sometimes they arrive slowly, like erosion. Sometimes they arrive as loneliness. Sometimes they arrive as anxiety. Sometimes they arrive as the inability to enjoy what you have. Sometimes they arrive as a repeated pattern you cannot escape until you finally see it. So the real question is not, who will get karma? The real question is, what am I practicing right now that will become my future? If you practice using people, your future will feel cold. If you practice compassion with boundaries, your future will feel steady. If you practice chasing appearances, your future will feel fragile. If you practice inner stability, your future will feel free. Now I want to share a reflection that often creates empathy rather than judgment. Many people who chase money in relationships are not evil. They are afraid. They believe love is unreliable. So they choose a substitute they can measure. Money feels measurable. Money feels like proof. Money feels like protection. But money cannot hug your heart. Money cannot make you feel seen. Money cannot replace trust. When someone realizes this, their entire life can change. But only if they are brave enough to face the fear underneath the craving. That is why wisdom matters. Wisdom does not shame the craving. Wisdom understands it. Then wisdom guides it. So if you have ever felt yourself craving validation, craving a shortcut to worth, craving a person for what they provide rather than who they are, do not hate yourself. Notice it. Breathe. Return to the present. Ask what you are really needing. Safety, love, respect, belonging. Then choose a skillful way to meet that need. Talk honestly. Build your own stability. Practice calming your nervous system so you do not grab at others like a life raft. That is how karma changes. not through dramatic punishment, but through quiet cultivation. Thank you for being here with me today. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think instant karma stories teach real lessons? Or do they just feed our desire for revenge? And have you ever had a moment when consequences arrived fast and changed your direction for the better? Share your thoughts and your stories in the comments. Please subscribe, hit like, and leave a comment to support the channel and keep these story-based wisdom talks going. Until next time, remember this: the fastest karma is not the one that embarrasses someone else. The fastest karma is the moment you catch yourself repeating an old pattern, and you choose wisdom instead.